Hello again everyone, and in this video we're going to install and configure our firewall, which is one of the most important part when you are talking about security of your Linux server. So CSF Firewall is a open source firewall, which is a very famous open source firewall in Linux, and actually almost all of the companies who are providing shared hosting with cPanel or DirectAdmin are using this CSF firewall, and it's really powerful. It has a lot of pre-configured options, which is great for the security of your system. Also, it has an artificial intelligence which can detect the security level of your server and give you some suggestions about it. So let's get started with it. Let's go inside our cPanel and let me bring my password, log into my server, then come back to security part, which is CSF, installing CSF. Here as you can see, you should SSH to your server first. I'm going to open my terminal and connect to my server on port 66, and then install this firewall step by step. First of all, you need to oh sorry, I forgot to copy the root password, so I'm just gonna insert my password again and then start. As you can see, there's only one failed login, which was me here because I didn't copy the correct password first time. So here, first of all, you need to stop and disable the internal Linux firewall to install your own firewall, which is CSF. Sorry. So actually the firewall was not enabled, so these commands are not going to work, and that's okay. If you see those, that's okay. It means that your server is not running any firewall now. So here you will install the necessary packages for installing your firewall, which I'm going to install them, and it's going to ask for me to confirm it. I'm going to say Y, it means yes, and it has been completed. Then I need to change my directory to /user/src. So I'll come here and change my directory. Then the next command, which is downloading the installer of this firewall, which has been downloaded, and now I need to unzip it, which is compressed, and I decompress it, and then I need to change directory to CSF folder, and then finally with sh.install.sh I would install it. Just let me come back to you in a minute. My phone is ringing, I'm sorry. I will come back and install it completely. Sorry for the interruption, I forgot to silence my phone. So now the last command is to install the installer we have downloaded. So sh install.sh, which is going to install the CSF which has been completed. When you complete this, then refresh your WHM, and then oh, my kernel has been updated and I need to reboot my server. So let's do that. How we are going to do that is going over here. We can see the reboot options. Reboot options. So we are going to forceful reboot, server reboot, or graceful server reboot. The difference between them is the first one may cause some data loss, but the second one may not. So proceed to graceful server reboot. The server is rebooting now, and it's going to take about a minute or two according to your server, depending on your server hardware, how much powerful it is to turn off and turn on. So let's see how long it would take for our server. Of course, now if I refresh this page, it may not be online because the server is rebooting. As you can see, it's refreshing and it's not coming up. So let me close this and just wait for 2 minutes, and let's talk about this firewall more. So this firewall would support all kinds of Linux operating systems, and it is going to actually take the security of your server as an autopilot script. There are only some very small configurations that you should do, and also whenever there is any security issues, whenever there are any failure logins to your server, any attacks, it's going to inform you if you give it your email to inform, because it has another thing inside this firewall, which is LFD, or login failure daemon, which is another tool of this firewall that it's preventing the brute force attacks, which is attacking on your login pages, and in those time it automatically blocks those robots and DDoS attacks or DDoS attacks, and it blocks lots of IPs. If you ever have any hacker hacking your server, attacking your server, you can easily block the IP address of that hacker, or even if sometime by mistake there is an IP in your firewall blacklist, you can simply put it in the whitelist so the firewall would not block that IP again. And these are the features of this firewall, and it has an graphic interface for cPanel and direct admin, as I've worked with also WestaCP. I think now it has a graphic mode. As you can see, cPanel, direct admin, Interworks, CentOS, WestaCP, CyberPanel, and WebMin. These are the panels that has UI integration. So let's see our servers coming up or not. As you can see, my SSH automatically closed because I have rebooted my server. So let's go ahead and again open my server. So go ahead and root user and put my password. Let me show you something right now. Just first let's go and see the plugin installed. As you can see, there was engine thrown on my plugins, but there wasn't any CSF, which is now config server security and firewall, which is now available on my cPanel sidebar. As you can see, the firewall status is in test mode. It's not enabled now. If you're going to enable it, I'm going to show you how to do that. But first of all, let's go to the firewall configuration. Alright, so let's come back over here to the security configurations, which I put all of that for you. You can go in your SSH and config this file, which is exactly same with this, but the UI integration also will be better. So here on the firewall page, on the config security and security and firewall, go to the firewall configuration. Let's start by this is on, the testing is on. You should put it on off because it's not a test, it's a real server and it shouldn't be on testing mode. Then the next thing is the LFSSH email alert. So let me search for it. You can Control F and search for it, which is here. This is on. 1 means on and 0 means off, which is here. Okay, it's on. This is on too. That's okay. Let's search for LF alert 2. Control F and just paste that here. LF alert 2. You should put your email over here. I'm going to put my email, which is, as you know, @sign gmail.com. And that's it. You can also set the LF alert from, and also you can connect it to SMTP, but that's not really gonna be a problem. There is another thing that you should take care of, which is CT limit. just search for it again. City limit, which is 0, you put it on 250, that's gonna be okay. And then the next thing would be syslog. I am going to search for it, syslog. Not this one, not this one, not this, just we need to, oh yeah, that's it. It should be, as you can see, 0 will allow those options listed above, and configure disable all options listed above, disable only alerts about these features, do nothing else. And 3 means restrict syslog access to restrict syslog group, which means the 3 is recommended, and it's going to send you all of the important informations and attacks to your server. So I'm going to put it on 3, and that's okay. I think there's nothing else. LF script alert, let me search for it too, and this is on. Oh, it was off. I made it on. And then the ports. Important thing is TCP ports. Right now, as you can see, it has automatically detected my port, my SSH port, which is 66. If I just remove this 66 and save this file, it's not gonna open up the SSH server for me anymore. Let's do that and see what happens. It's a very dangerous thing to do, but now because I know what I'm doing, let's do it. These are all the ports that should be open on your server. You can close the 22 because you don't need that. 22 was the default port of the SSH. Now, by removing 22 from this part, it means that your server is going to block all of the requests that come to port 22, which there are lots of attacks. So here there are some the ports which are open to accept the requests, and these are the ports which are open that your server can request, and these are okay. For example, if I remove this 2087, this control panel which is on port 2087, it's not going to open up anymore. Okay, so let's save this configuration. There's nothing else to do. Go downside here, change this, and restart CSF plus LFD. So that's it. And now Firewall is enabled and running. And now if I open up my SSH, let's just sorry, what I'm doing right now. Okay, clear this. Oh my god, my typing is awful. So as you can see here, I have my SSH connection. If I just bring up my command, which I wanted to connect to my server on port 66, and enter, as you can see, oh, yet it's accepting that. Why is happening? Let's see the configuration, firewall configuration. It shouldn't actually. Let's see here to find out is the 66 port open or not. I think it shouldn't actually. I'm confused because now the TCP in is closed on 66. So let's change this again to see. I think it hasn't been restarted correctly. CSF is now enabled and running, so that's okay. I think it should be okay. So let's check it again. Control-C, and let's connect to our server again. Oh my gosh, let me see what is going on. Let's go to my server first, put my password, then I will go to the configuration file of my my firewall, which is nano etc csf csf.conf, and I will find, Control W, I will find for TCP port. TCP. Again, Control. Yes, these are the ports which are open. Actually, the port 66 is not open right now, but I don't know why it's letting us inside the server. So let's find out what is going on. It may be about even not running the firewall. I suggest to reboot the server again to see what is going on with this server. So easily write the reboot command. This is an issue that we have faced on this course, and that's good. We are going to fix it together. Alright? So let's wait for our server to connect. Alright, yet it's not online. Clear it. Again, connect to our server. Yeah. As you can see, I can refresh my WHM account and it's working, but my connection to port 66 is refused. The problem was my firewall was not running up completely, and that's some of the development bugs. Of course, I'm going to report this and send this video to the config server security development team about a bug that they have when I restarted on the SSH and also the UI integration. Nothing happened, and it didn't actually restart it correctly. But now, if I want to again connect on port 66, I need to go to config server security and firewall. As you can see, because my port 66 was not open and now my firewall is completely working, I should go ahead again in the firewall configuration, find the TCP ports. Let's search for TCP, and in these ports, after 53 I should put 66.2 and then save the configuration and restart. That my server can be able to connect. I can be able to connect to SSH again. So after my firewall has been completely run, now I can again connect, and now it accepts my password. Not like this, that it has refused my connection, but right now it asks for my password, which means that 66 is inside my configuration. Let's see that it's really there. I'm going to show you that the 66 port I've put here was there. So again, let's bring the SSH configuration of firewall, Control W, to find this TCP ports. Again, Control W, and yes, you can see that I've put 66 here and I saved it and it's here. The time that it wasn't here, the firewall was not restarted correctly, and that was why it was accepting my connections. And now I think the firewall is completely working and it's all right. So the next thing about security is let me show you here that you need to secure the database, the MySQL of your server. Just go to nanoetc.my.cnf, which is about your MySQL configurations. There is a there is a line should call local-in file. I'm going to Control W to find this, Shift Insert, and I think nothing has been found. So if nothing has been found, you can go ahead, copy this, go ahead anywhere you want. At the end of the file would be okay. Shift Insert to paste this as an option that you're doing yourself. Okay, so this is another configuration that it's really important on your security, that it should be importantly put in your MySQL configuration. So I'm going to Control X, Y, and save it, and that's it. there's nothing to do anymore with the server security configuration anymore. If you like to check more about your server security, you can go ahead. Actually, you can see the score from 100 to is now 79. There are lots of things that it asks you to do that you can see. For example, reset password for cPanel accounts. This is not a security issue on your server, but it's better that you disable, for example, these things that it's going to ask you. There are lots of things that it's going to ask you. For example, the one which is about server is okay, it's important, but for example here, as you can see, it's going to say, did you remember I told you don't enable PHP less than version 7? PHP version 5.6 is going to lack some security, and that's here. It's going to ask you exactly that one. But if you are really forced to use it, you can skip this. You can just go ahead and use it. For example, there's another thing that it's going to tell you, which is using CXS, which I can't see it right now, but sometimes it's asking you for that. Apache is okay, Mail is okay. Let me see. Oh, SMTP block option, check. This option, yeah, you can also just check the SMTP block option, but I don't really recommend that because lots of users are gonna be unsatisfied about this. This is not a really big issue on your server, okay? Syslog check should be okay, so I'm going to do that for you. You can go ahead. Everything is really easy to understand and do as it says. For example, I'm going to do this syslog check. Let's go to the config security and firewall and bring the firewall configuration. Control F to find syslog check. Come down, and you can, for example, put this a number, a value of 300 to 3600 would be okay. I'll put, for example, 600 for the mid-range of that, and I will change the firewall configuration and restart it. Restart CSF plus LFD, and then go to the server configuration, check again. Now you can see the option was here is now gone. Everything is exactly same. You can just go ahead, do as it's suggesting you. And these three are not really important. The OSM CXS are another. Let me show you. This is the first one, CXS, and this is OSM. These are two commercial plugins of config server services which you can purchase the license and use. They are going to actually improve the security of your server. But if you are going to use it as normal works, for example, you're not going to host Udemy website, then it's not going to be really necessary for you, okay? So don't worry about these two, these two server check details, all right? And for example, this one is not really important in cPanel servers because it's going to ask you for disabling the password authentication and using SSH keys, but I'm not really a big fan of because it's going to really make you in trouble. And the next thing, they are all good, okay? So don't worry about it. Just go ahead and change these for WHM settings check, okay? These are important. You can do this easily by just reading this and go and find those and change it, okay? So in config server security and firewall, there's also another option which you can check the logs. You can see the IP tables log. You can see the blacklisted IPs. For example, let me see here, firewall deny IPs. This file is now empty, but in future, when you get some attacks to your server, there's going to be lots of IPs down here. those are the IPs which are blacklisted in your firewall. If one of those are your friends and it has been blocked by mistake, you can go ahead and remove it from here and then change it. Alright, let's go back. Here you can disable the firewall, restart the firewall, enable it. If you want to quickly allow an IP on your server, put an IP on the whitelist of your server, you can put the IP here and use this button to quick allow or make the IP on the whitelist. Or if you want to block it quickly, you can put the IP over here. Also, there is a part that you can comment for white label and comment for blocklist, that you can understand in future why did you block this IP or allow this IP. So that was the video for our server firewall configurations. It's really important to know what you're doing when you're configuring a server firewall. Do as I did, and also go ahead and check server security. Also, I told you, check these WHM setting checks. There are some easily items. For example, in 2x settings, you should go and hide login password for CGI scripts. That's an item that you can just disable or enable. There are easy steps to do. Alright, and that's okay. There isn't anything I should tell you in this video. I think the next video is gonna be the video for testing our server by telling you how to back up, create accounts, and create a package. You can create a reseller and do lots of things like that. What is transfer tool, backup and restoration, and lots of things like that. We're going to restore a cPanel backup together to see how it works. So again, like always, stay with me. Let's just Control D to log out from this terminal and Control D to exit from my git bash. Save this notepad file so later on you can use it, and also close my browser until I get a little bit of rest and come back to record the next video for you. I hope to see you in the next video.